are a visionary, an entrepreneur, a business owner. You want to make money from your passion and create the freedom that you've dreamed of. But it's slow. The income is slow, the impact is slow, and the freedom is slow. And here's the kicker. You've actually never been busier. You're working longer than ever, burning through daylight, and your family have forgotten who you are. You're tired and frustrated and you can't even sleep well at night. The business just feels so heavy, and all you ever wanted to do was just make the money you want to make doing the things that you want to do. And that's where I come in. Hi, if we haven't met yet, my name is Dr. Brooklyn Storm, and I'm the host of the Business Acceleration Podcast, where we shift your business from heavy to light, time poor to time abundant, and from income lack to income growth. We're going to achieve it together with my 20 years experience as a psychologist, helping people just like you to break through their barriers. And we're going to throw in a little of the woo as well. So thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business Acceleration Podcast. I'm so pleased that you're here today because we're going to be talking about if you want more out of your business, integrity is absolutely key. So thank you very much for being here. At the end of the podcast, I'm going to give you 3 questions that you can use when you find yourself in experiences where you feel something's out of alignment or out of integrity in your business or in your business dealings, because I think that they're really going to help you get some clarity around what might otherwise be a bit of a sticky situation. So today I want to share with you a case study, and it's from a client of mine. I'm going to call her Kate, and I'm not going to mention the name of the company that we're going to be talking about today. But anyway, so Kate came to me, and she's a coach, and she was really upset because what had happened was last year, Kate decided that she was going to enroll in another coach's program. And she was super excited about it because Kate had been following this particular coach on social media. And, she had been subscribing to all the emails and enjoying all of the blog posts and watching all of this lady's videos. And she just had this lady on a real pedestal. She was feeling very inspired by her. And so when she was participating in a webinar one day, Kate decided that, hey, maybe I might want to go and do some training with this lady. And guess what? Her prayers, if you like, were answered. The universe responded. And this particular lady said, hey, guys, I'm going to be having training in Melbourne. And so Kate saw this as a sign, and she was super excited about it. And so she stayed till the end of the webinar, and then she heard all about it. And then shortly after the webinar had finished, the lady started reaching out to people via Messenger. And this lady contacted Kate and said, hey, I saw that you didn't sign up, and why not? And Kate said, oh, well, because I saw it was, $5,000, and I don't have $5,000. That's really expensive. And anyway, long story short, the lady said to Kate, well, how about you just pay $100 a week or $400 a month? How would that sound? And Kate really wanted to go. And so she knew she would find the money. And she said, okay, let's do it. And so the lady said, great, what's your credit card details? Kate gave her credit card details, deposit was taken, that was all good. And then a digital form was sent to Kate to sign. She had to sign that. That's all good. And anyway, she went off to training. That was all good. She was starstruck. She couldn't believe how blessed and how fortunate she was to be being in the same room as this lady that she'd really been looking up to, that she'd been following for about a year. And she's just so excited to be there. And she tried her very best to get everything she could out of her time with this lady and her trainers. Anyway, so the actual training was a really beautiful experience for Kate. She didn't learn too much, but for her, it was really about the energy in the room. It was about being around someone that she really respected and admired. And anyway, plus she couldn't believe that she'd actually invested $5,000 into this lady's training that went for 3 days. It was just 3 days of training. That's it. And anyway, so Kate was feeling kind of exhilarated by the fact that she'd spent such a large amount of money to be able to spend time with this woman and learn from her. So, all good. Anyway, in the background, she's paying. It's all going really well. And then what happens is there's some issue with the payment. Now, apparently, Kate had a break-in at her home and was robbed. So all her cards were stopped. She had to replace all of those, and she didn't think to restart payments for this particular lady's training because it just didn't occur to her. Everything was on autopilot, was all getting direct debited. So she got quite a fright when she got a nasty letter from a debt collection agency saying, you've defaulted and now it's been handed over to debt collection and all this sort of jazz. So, anywho, Kate, of course wants to honour her commitments, and so she restarts the payments and all going well, all going fine. But apparently with this particular debt collection agency, every few months the payments stop and Kate has to call them and start the payments again. Anyway, recently, guess what happened? Kate got a text message from the debt collection agency saying, hey, it's that time and you've got to give us a call and update your details. Or if you like, you can just go and pay the outstanding balance and you can use this reference number and it's this BPay account. And the outstanding balance is $4,194. So Kate thought, there's been a mistake. They've obviously given me, the wrong balance. So she contacts the debt collection agency to clarify and she asks them for the updated balance. And they say to her, no, that is your balance. And Kate says, well, this can't be right because when the day I enrolled, I paid $400 and that was over a year ago, nearly 18 months ago. And I've been paying $400 a month ever since. So what's going on? And then the debt collection agency say, oh no, your bill was $10,000, not $5,000. And then Kate says, no, it was $5,000. And so they have this back and forth and it got really icky because the debt collection agency, I think, thought that Kate didn't want to pay, but she did. She was just arguing about this amount. So she goes back to the lady. She goes back to that lady and she says, hey, can you sort this out for me because they're not understanding what I'm saying. They're not cooperating. They're not helping me at all. So then what happens is the lady says, well, no, that is the amount. And now Kate's devastated, mortified. She can't believe it. She says to the lady, is it true that you've charged me in US dollars? And the lady from the training says, yes. And then Kate can't believe it because, number one, the trainer is Australian. Number two, the training happened in Australia. Number three, her payments have only ever been paid in Australian dollars. There's never been any currency conversion charges on her bank statements saying, we've had to convert this to 400 US, so it's going to actually cost you 600 plus our fees for currency conversion. There's never been any of that. And Kate's had a look at invoices, which she hasn't received all. She's only received some, but she's had a look at each of those, and nowhere on any of those does it say in US dollars either. So she goes back to the training company and she says, listen, it doesn't say anywhere here that you're charging me in US dollars. They say, oh, yes, it does. It says on our receipts. So Kate asked to see a copy of that, and they send her an internal document. And they've made a big point now of writing a big asterisk, and it says total amount in US dollars. And they said, so you're liable and you've got to still pay us, the other $5,000. And Kate writes back and she says, no, I haven't seen this before. Nobody's ever seen this, sent this to me before. And she says, no, I want to talk to somebody else. They say, no, you can't. You've got to cough up the money. So now Kate's panicking because obviously she doesn't have a spare 5,000 lying around, and it was her understanding that the training was only 5,000. So Kate goes back through the text messages from her enrollment, because it all happened over Messenger. So she goes back through her text messages over enrollment, over Messenger for her enrollment, and she can see where the lady has gotten her to sign up. The lady said to her, you're going to pay $400 over 15 payments. Because she had to pay $1,000 for the privilege of going on a payment plan, which I think is also another load of BS. I've never in my life charged anybody interest on a payment plan. For me, it's unethical. It's out of alignment. I don't like it. No. But anyway, whatever. Kate signed up and this lady charged her $1,000, which was 20% of the cost of the course, which is freaking ludicrous. Who charges an extra 20% interest? Like, come on. Anyway, I'm going on a rant, sorry. So then anyway, Kate goes back through that. It's not mentioned anywhere about the US dollars. So then she sends the screenshots back to the company and she says, look, it doesn't even say when I was enrolled that I was going to be charged in US dollars. The company write back and they say, tough luck, tough cookies, you're going to have to pay it. So anyway, Kate says, no, I'm not going to. And they said, well, then we're going to, do something to your credit history or something if you're going to stop the payments. So Kate says, fine. So she calls the debt collection agency and she restarts her payments. But she also takes it further now. And she's started asking around about who she can take this matter to, as it's not being resolved on what we would call a local level. It's not being resolved on a business-to-business level or a business-to-client level. So anyway, she's now gone. She's got all of her documentation together. She's got all of her screenshots together. She's got everything together. And now she's got all of the emails back and forward about how they're not budging on the money. So she's got all of that. And now she's pursuing it legally. And it makes me so sad because, these are women that are interested in the spiritual community. And I just think, oh my God, you guys, this is so out of alignment. And I cannot believe for a moment, and Kate's shared with me everything, that she's showed me all the documentation, all the evidence, and even I can't believe as a business owner how this other lady has acted just completely out of integrity. Anyway, it's just really, it's sad and it's low vibe and I don't like it. And now I'm coaching Kate through how we move through this so that she maintains integrity, because she doesn't want her vibe pulled down by this poor behavior of this other company. So, and of course, Kate's human, and there's part of her that's feeling, anxious, and you've got your whole fight or flight response. So there's part of Kate that's wanting to fight tooth and nail and do things like go on social media and, blah, 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 and do all of that sort of yucky stuff. But she's not, because she wants to stay in spiritual alignment with her higher self, and she wants to, really think about a lesson that she can take from this so that she can grow from it. She's no longer worried about this trainer. She trusts that the law is going to deal with her, and that's all fine. She's in the right. It's clear to see that she is. And it's clear to see that this other company look like they've been doctoring things behind the scenes, but I don't know because, I wasn't there. I'm just saying what it looks like on the surface to a third party. But anyway, we'll see what the judge or the magistrate has to say about that. But it's interesting because you know how I feel. You've seen, if you've been following me for a while, you would have seen other posts that I've done where I too have been burned by dishonest coaches that behave out of integrity, out of alignment in the spiritual world. They are saying on one hand that they're about all the good things, But when it comes down to their business practices, it's 180 degrees different. And I think that's where the clients get stuck. And that's where I got stuck. I felt, money aside, I mean, money's money and it's just energy and I can always make more money. But I guess for me, what really hurt was the deception by a spiritual leader, somebody that you consider to be a leader in the spiritual arena, behaving in a very deceptive, underhanded, sneaky way. I mean, who's ever heard of Australian businesses charging Australian clients when they're delivering a service in Australia in US dollars? Anyway, apparently, according to the Australian Taxation Office, it's fine to do that. Apparently you can, as long as you pay your GST in Australian dollars. So I don't know. I just think it's highly unethical. I could never, ever, ever imagine charging US dollars to an Australian person, especially when I'm Australian and I live in Australia and I'm delivering a service in Australia. It makes no sense to me. I think it's money grabbing. I think there's absolutely no reason for it when you're delivering an in-person workshop. If you're perhaps delivering a service online, maybe there are other issues around currency. I don't know. But most of my work is online coaching, and I work with people who are based in Australia, London, and LA. And, I've never charged in British pounds. What's that about? And I've never charged in US dollars. I don't get it. Whatever. But if you find yourself as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, in a situation where the issue of integrity is raised, and maybe you're on the receiving end, maybe you're like Kate, and you find yourself unknowingly in this pickle due to somebody else's lack of integrity and their lack of transparency and all of that. There are some ways that you can try and process what has happened that feel like it's more aligned with you. So before you start acting from fight or flight responses, before you start acting from ego, I would absolutely encourage you to follow these 3 questions. So grab a pen and paper, maybe pause the podcast, grab a pen and paper, or ask somebody sitting next to you to write it down if they have, notes in their phone or something like that, or maybe come back to this later. But the 3 questions are, number 1, what can I do with this situation that's in the highest good? Okay, so again, what can I do with this situation that is in the highest good? So you can already hear that this question is shifting your thinking now away from revenge and, all of those sorts of feelings you might be experiencing, but it's shifting your perspective now over to highest good. That's going to help you stay in spiritual alignment. The second question is, what am I making this situation mean about myself, my business, or my clients? Again, what am I making this situation mean about myself, my business, or my clients? So as you know from previous podcasts and from my posts online and blog articles and things, that everything that happens is neutral. Everything that happens in the world is neutral, okay? This podcast is neutral. Your relationship is neutral. The way somebody talks to you is neutral. Things only become a thing, in air quotes, when you attribute a meaning onto them, okay? It's kind of like, how 5 people might have the same experience, but each experience it differently. You might say, "Hi, how are you?" And somebody will say, "I'm great, how are you?" And they'll think that you're friendly. Somebody else might be suspicious. "Why do you want to know? What's it to you?" It's about the meaning. So that's what we're trying to get at with that question. So that question was, what am I making this situation mean about myself, my business, or my clients? And the third question is, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Again, what am I supposed to be learning from this situation? When you approach a difficult situation from a perspective of learning, what happens is you transmute the energy from being negative, from being low vibe, hurtful, painful, not nice. You transmute that energy over to something that's easier to digest, that's easier to sit with, that's easier to process, because now you've taken it and you've used it as a tool to leverage your growth. Okay? And that's what we want to do here. So only after you have answered these 3 questions, I think you should act. Okay? And this is what Kate and I worked through as well. And after she moved through them, she experienced a real shift. And that shift still allowed her to, seek what was just for her. And, for her, that meant pursuing this through legal processes. And that's fine. But she's not doing it now with that driver of vengeance and that driver of, I'm going to show you and how can you do this? And she's not coming from that space anymore. She's coming now from a space that she's created for herself, where she's now able to feel like she can take this and use it for the highest good. She can take this situation and learn something about it. And she can also develop insight into how she was personalizing it by attributing meaning about herself or her business or her clients. Okay, so this is a really, really powerful set of 3 questions, and absolutely there's going to be times in your business too where you feel like something's happened that's out of integrity, either for that person or for that business or even for yourself. And so working through this is going to help you. And I really, really, really hope it does. What I would love for you to do is please leave a review and let me know what you think about these 3 questions. Let me know what you think about integrity. Let me know if you did come back to this episode at a future point. If you do that, please let me know how it helped you to work through these questions and the shift that you experience as a result of that. This podcast is about helping you with your own transformations, okay? This podcast is to give you a sample of what coaching is like, to give you wins every time you listen. I want you to feel a win. I want you to want to come back to this podcast because you know that you're going to take something away from it that's going to help bring value, make you feel better, make you operate the business more effectively, in greater alignment, all of that sort of really cool stuff, okay? So, thank you very, very, very much for listening. I've had interest in the Mic Sound podcast course. So again, I'll put that link in the show notes for the waitlist. When you go on the waitlist, you're going to be notified first when the doors are open. This is a podcasting course that's going to teach you how to take your idea and get it fully published as a beautiful, amazing, exciting podcast in 30 days or less using this really cool program that I've put together. You're going to get loads of support. If you sign up to this, you will be a founding member, which means you get it for half price. And if you enroll with a friend, I'm going to give you both a private 1-to-1, 1 hour podcast coaching session where we're going to really answer any questions that you have, polish it up, make it amazing, and get your message out to the world. And it's so exciting. I was just reading some statistics the other day that said 88% of listeners will listen to an entire podcast. Okay. Most people turn it off when they hear that you're wrapping up, but they will listen up to that point. And that is a much higher engagement rate than IGTV and a Facebook video or a Facebook Live. So you are missing out if you are not podcasting. I want to help you. I love teaching. I love sharing knowledge. And I'm so excited about it. I'm super duper pumped. And we're going to, it's very practical. You're going to get audios and workbooks and worksheets and videos. You're going to get everything. So catering for all sorts of learners. And you are not leaving until it's fully up and running. How's that? I'm going to help you do it. And it's not just all the technical stuff. You don't need to have any knowledge about that. If you've got limiting beliefs, that's cool. Bring it. Like, that's my jam. I love helping people break through those limiting beliefs. So if you're feeling a bit nervous or a bit hesitant, absolutely enroll, because I'm going to help you move through that, because your bigger goal at the end of the day is to help people. Okay. And sometimes we make our beliefs about ourselves, don't we? Yeah. Even I've done that too. It's hard to hear somebody say that, I know, but somebody said it to me once and it felt like I just had cold water tipped on my head. But it's true. Sometimes our limited beliefs, we make them about us and we forget why we're here. And we are here because of our purpose, which is to help other people. So don't make your limitations about yourself. Let's focus on moving through them so that you can help the people that only you can help. Okay, they're out there and they're waiting for you. All right, I'll put the link to that in the show notes as well. Thank you so much for your attention. I love doing these podcasts, and I love all the emails that you guys send. I've been getting some questions by email as well, so I'm thinking about doing a special podcast where we move through some of those questions, or maybe we do one podcast, one question, We'll see how it goes. But if you have a question that you would like answered, of course, send it to me. The address is hello@brooklynstorm.com. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Have an amazing day. Bye. Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope that you enjoyed it and got a lot of value from it. Help me help others by sharing this podcast. And if you feel called to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, remember to let me know so that I can send you a very special thank you gift. Now go and build your dream business, and I will see you next time. Bye.